Hey, what's up, guys? John from Mongo Fishing. Today I want to talk to you guys about something that I get questions asked about a lot, and that's co-angler or boater, some like different, I don't know, tournament rules, or maybe not rules, I don't know, just some tournament things to think about. I've had this video asked of me multiple times. Actually, last year, kind of wrote a script for it and everything, had it saved on my phone. That phone is now in the bottom of Lake Dardanelle. So, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. My buddy Jarrett from Jarrett Rushing Fishing put out a video similar to this, and it reminded me of some of the things that I had previously, planned on putting out on my video. So I figured, contacted Jarrett the other day, and I was like, hey man, you don't mind if I put out another video similar, talking to what you were talking about? And he's like, no, cool. So here I am. This is what we're doing. So we're gonna talk about, I'm gonna have to use my phone for these notes because I've got COVID again, and my brain's just not working right. So I've got notes. There's no way I can just do this off of memory. So let's talk fishing tournaments. Okay, so you want to fish tournaments, you're interested, you don't know what to do, you don't know if you're ready, and I'm gonna tell you right now a couple of my personal opinions on this. If you think you're ready, you're ready. And if you don't think you're ready, you're still ready. Here's the deal. Tournament bass fishing, there's a couple things you need to think about this whole time. One, you're gonna lose. Okay, I don't care if you were the best fisherman in the world, you're not gonna win them all. Okay, you're gonna have bad days. You're gonna have days where you zero. You're gonna have days where you just, nothing seemed to go right. Tournament bass fishing, like bass fishing as a whole, involves a bunch of skill, but there is a small portion of luck involved. You can't say there's no luck involved. Skill puts you in the right place at the right time with the right bait and all that fun stuff to set you up for success. Luck is still involved. A small portion is still luck. You can still have bad luck. If a person has a horrible day and breaks fish off left and right and gets a flat tire, all that stuff, they're not going to go back to the boat dock and be like, hey, I had a bad skill day. No, they're going to say I had bad luck that day. So you can't just have bad luck, and all skill goes both ways. You can have a little bit of good luck also. But if you cannot handle failure, tournament bass fishing is not for you. Let's get that established right off the bat. If you cannot handle failure, this is just not, take a different sport, man, because you're gonna fail. That's a fact. If you look at any other professional sport, right? Take, I don't know, football, baseball, whatever. When it's two teams against each other, so half of the field wins, half of the field loses. In bass fishing, you get a 100 boat tournament, one person wins, 99 people lose. Now you can still cash a check, and but you didn't win, right? It's just there's only one winner. So if you say, I don't know, professional tournament, or professional tennis, there's only gonna be one winner there too. It's true, but you've only got one person against one person. And then, move on through brackets or whatever. It's not one person against 99 other people at the same exact time. Tournament bass fishing is just a different beast. I can't think of any other, I guess, professional sport where you can lose the majority of the time and still be considered a success. So, if this is something that interests you guys, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I should have mentioned that earlier, but I didn't. Hit the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. And the bell notification button also. Again, I'm sorry if I'm rambling. I get this COVID brain, man. I feel like an idiot. But yeah, there's a different feel to tournament bass fishing, right? Tournament bass fishing versus fun fishing, there's a different pressure involved. You've got money on the line. I learned more tournament bass fishing in one season that I learned in years and years and years of fun fishing. It's just a fact, man. It's just, it hits different, if you will. There's a different pressure, and there's no pressure, there's no diamonds. That's the way I look at it. It's just a totally different pressure when there's action, when there's added money on the line. So keep that in mind. Okay, so let's see. All right, before you go, okay, so you decide to sign up in fish tournaments, and you get paired with Joe Schmo, and you call Joe and you're like, hey Joe, where do you want to meet at? You're fishing as the co-angler. Joe tells you to be at the boat ramp at 5:30. be at the boat ramp before 5:30. Don't make your boater wait for you. Okay, he doesn't want to wait for you. He has a little checklist in his mind how he likes to do things. Just make things go smooth. Be there on time or early. Don't be late. Bring ice if he wants you to bring ice. Bring your own food and drink. He's not a guide. He's not, you're not taking him on a charter trip. So you're responsible for your own Scooby snacks. If you have a YouTube channel and you want to film, ask prior. Ask the night prior when you're on the phone, hey, can I film? Because they have every right in the world to say no, okay? They don't want you filming their honey holes. I mean, as is, guys, when I fish with, I don't know, say like Hunter Bogman, for example, right? Hunter and I did a few tournaments over the summer last year that you guys never saw on camera for that reason alone right there, is because I fished with them and I didn't film some of the areas we were in. And, we did well. But those videos never got put out because I had the camera turned off when we were in different areas. And by the time the end of the day, it just kind of really wasn't worth putting the video together, because some of those, like some of the better catches came from areas that you guys were never going to see on camera. So anyway, keep that in mind. The boater can always tell you no. Okay, for traveling, pack everything. Sorry, let's backtrack. Bring everything, but pack small. What I mean is, if you're traveling out of state or to an area of the lake that you've never fished before or whatever, right? You want to pack a bunch of tackle with you in your vehicle. You can take it into the hotel room, whatever. But what you're actually packing with you to fish that day is a small amount, right? Just whatever you need to fish that day. The reason I bring a lot more than I need to is because I did a tournament several years ago where I was told the lake was a dirty, muddy, nasty gar hole, and so I packed dirty, nasty, muddy gar hole baits, and I got there and the lake was relatively clean. And so I didn't have anything that I felt like I really needed to be effective that day, and I learned my lesson from it. So now it was just a different opinion of what a person thought was a muddy gar hole was totally not what I thought a muddy gar hole was. So bring it with you. You can go look at the lake, the day before the tournament or whatever, get an idea if you actually need to adjust your tackle box or not. But if you didn't bring it with you, you can't adjust. So bring a lot, but pack small. Tournament wise itself, you don't need a bunch of stuff, but you better have access to it in your truck prior to the beginning of the tournament. Rods and reels, 5. I think as a co, 5 normally does it. There was occasionally I would have 6. Those are really like specific lakes and specific times of the year. We normally have 1 spinning rod and 4 bait casters, or sometimes 1 spinning rod and 5 bait casters. It really depended on the lake. If there was a lake that I was going to be throwing a frog or an A-rig, then I had a frog or A-rig rod. That was when I had a 6th rod. But other than that, it was typically, a 5-rod setup. Let's see. However much you pack, man, it needs to be an amount that you can manage. Okay, you don't want to make a giant mess all over this guy's boat. Okay, keep it manageable. It needs to be able to fit in a small compartment back there in the back. So pack intelligently, no giant backpacks. Let's see. All right, so when you show up, again, this is kind of in no order, but this is still kind of like prior or whatever, or the day of. When you show up, park in a small car spot. Don't park in a boat and trailer spot. That sounds like common sense, but I'm saying this for a reason, man. There's boat ramps typically don't have an unlimited number of parking spots for boats and trailers. And if you put your little Prius in one of those spots, well, then somebody can't park their boat and trailer. So park your Prius someplace else, pull it underneath a tree or something out of the way, so that you're not taking up a boat and trailer spot. Also, when it comes time to launching the boat, if you don't feel comfortable backing someone's truck and trailer, then let them know. Trust me, we want to know, okay? I would much rather a person be honest with me and say, hey man, I'm not good at backing a trailer, than for them to sit there and run the risk of getting in an accident, Okay, there's no shame in that game. If you're not experienced doing it, you don't feel comfortable doing it. Maybe you're really experienced, but you don't feel comfortable backing someone's, you know, $50,000 boat and $50,000 truck. You know, that's not the case I'm in. When I got like a $5,000 truck, but whatever. If you don't feel comfortable doing it, don't do it. Let your boater know ahead of time. Hey guy, I don't feel comfortable doing it. Trust me, they're not going to be upset with you. They would much rather you be honest with them up front than run the risk of you damaging it in the end. If you do happen to clip, you know, a boat trailer out in the parking lot or whatever, be honest with them, man. Tell them up front, like, hey dude, when I parked, I clipped another trailer next to you. Don't hide it. No one wants to find out the wrong way that their vehicle was involved in an accident. Expect to lose baits. Some boaters, if you get a snag, your boater is willing to go get that snag out for you. Other boaters are going to tell you to break it off. Most of the time, they will try to go get it out. But there are times that people might just say, break it off, dude. Especially, and be prepared to break it off. If you're throwing a Texas rig, you know, Senko or whatever, he's probably not going to return the boat to go back and get something that, you know, grand total, you're out less than $1. They're probably more likely to turn around and go back and get a $17 jackhammer than they are a weightless Senko. So be prepared to lose baits. It's gonna happen. Okay, so the day of the tournament, like I said, we've told you to show up early, bring your own Scooby snacks, all that fun stuff. Treat their boat like it's your own. If you can avoid tracking in a bunch of mud, then don't track in mud. You know, clean up after yourself. Like, these all sound like common sense things, but the reason I'm saying it's because I've seen it so many times. Clean up after yourself. Don't step on their seats if you can avoid it. You know, they got a bunch of money rolled up in this thing, and the last thing I want is someone to trash it. So if you have to use dip and die, do it over the side of the boat, not inside the boat, because things can spill. If you tear something, let them know. You break a latch, let them know. Like, it's so much better to let them know ahead of time that, you know, hey man, I just messed up and broke it. I broke latches on guys' boats before when I was a co-angler, and I told them right off the bat, man. And you know, it happens. It's part of owning a boat, but you still got to be smart and careful about it from the co-angler side. Just, you know, treat it with respect. Try not to damage anything. But if you do, speak up. Gas money. Most boaters will not ask you for gas money. However, it's courtesy to give them gas money. So I always give $40 to $50, like, at least. Okay, I'm not telling you that's what you have to do. Gas prices have changed. Some people might feel like more, you know, obligated to give more. Some people don't want to give that in the first place. But something you need to think about, especially from a co-angler standpoint, is you're not just looking at what they, like, if a boater puts you on good fish, odds are they practiced quite a bit to be there in the first place. I can think of one practice in particular. I burned $100 in gas in practice just finding the pattern I wanted to run and the best place of the lake to run that pattern. And myself and my co-anglers all cash checks. I burned a bunch of gas in practice, making sure I was on the right place that I wanted to be, for that pattern I wanted to run, the best place on the lake to do it. Like I said, I burned $100 in gas doing it. So although we didn't burn hardly anything for gas on either one of those tournament days, I spent a lot of gas money trying to make sure that we were going to have a successful tournament, myself and both co's, because it was a multi-day tournament. So keep that in mind, man. You know, give gas whatever you feel is appropriate. Typically, $40 is like the minimum that I give typically. And again, some boaters won't take it, but you should at least offer it. Also, you need to think about, at the end of the day, what did you learn? You should learn something every time you're out there. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. You should still pick up on something that you learned. Maybe you don't even realize it that day, but keep that in the back of your mind before you fish that tournament again, or before you fish your next tournament. What could I have done different that day to win, or to catch a fish if you zeroed, or whatever? Try to pick up something, try to learn something from every event. Let's see. Oh, when you pull up to a spot, Again, this is an unwritten rule for a co-angler. It's an unwritten rule. Pull up to a spot. Don't just jump out of your seat, jump on the back deck and start fishing, man. Especially if you're casting forward. You know, because your boater has to get up and get over there and get the trolling motor down and, you know, unstrap the rods, whatever. It may take him a little longer. If he's throwing forward, I mean, like if you're gonna jump on the back and start throwing back, whatever, do what you gotta do. But if you're gonna make a cast towards the front end of the boat, which some boaters will be mad about that anyway, but if you're gonna make a cast in the front end of the boat, the smartest thing to do is just let your boater make that first cast. It doesn't matter, like you could have a target picked out that you're gonna go throw at that laydown or whatever. Just in the back of your mind, hold off. Let him make his first cast, whichever direction he throws, and then make your cast. Again, it's an unwritten rule. You don't have to do it. But if you start making the boater feel like he has to be defensive about his spots because he's afraid you're gonna start throwing at his spot as soon as he pulls up on it, he's gonna make the day bad for you. He'll start putting you in bad positions where you can't make that cast. So, you know, you don't have to say anything to him. Just give him a second. Let him make the first cast and then throw. Never fish in front of the boat. Okay, if you're fishing, you're on the back deck, don't cast in front of the boat unless you've cleared it with your boater in the first place. I typically let my co's know, hey, this is what we're doing, and where, you know, my comfort line is. I don't want them throwing over me and getting, you know, crossing my line or whatever. It's gonna happen sometime during the day, especially if we're throwing off to the side. I get that. But if he's throwing over my bow, we're gonna have a problem. Let's see. Bring your own cull kit, scale, whatever, if you want. If you don't, you don't have to. That's not mandatory. And then your reputation is going to precede you. So your reputation for the second tournament, boaters are going to talk, man. Co-anglers are going to talk. If you get a bad reputation, people are going to know about it. So just be smart, okay? And then, you know, kind of back to what I was saying in the beginning, just because it's so important that I really want to reiterate this. You're going to fail. You're going to get zeros in tournaments. If you cannot afford to lose the entry fee and gas money and stuff like that, if you cannot afford to lose that money, don't enter, okay? Don't rely on cashing a check. You just need to be expected to lose that money. Keep you from getting in some sort of weird financial bind. So just, if you can't afford to lose that $200, don't enter a $200 tournament, okay? You're gonna zero. You're gonna have bad days. You're gonna have good days too, but you're gonna have bad days. Yeah. It's one of those sports where you can lose the majority of the time and still be considered a success. And again, it's a different feel than fun fishing. It's a different pressure than fun fishing. And that's why I like it. I like the added pressure. There's no pressure. There's no diamonds. That's how I look at it. Again, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them down below. If I missed anything, drop that down below too, man. I'm more than happy to answer questions. Again, guys, thank you very much for watching. As always, get out on the water, be safe, and go stick some lips.